Good evening. Welcome everyone. I am going to call this meeting to order for October the 1st, 6:30 p.m. Can we have a roll call
Yes. We'll start with Chair Big Spry,
here?
Vice Chair Fagan. Here. Treasurer Smith here, my right, Secretary is present, and starting on the far left, Commissioner Dallas. Here. Moore. Present. Neal. Present. Bates. Here. Kepler.
Here.
White. Here. Maddox. Here. Montana.
Here.
And we are currently missing Andrew Stryker and Atomic Clay. Quorum is met.
Great, and they may walk in a little late, so we'll just deal with that when that happens.
Great.
So there's going to be a couple of adjustments to the agenda.
Yep.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, so under presentations, we're gonna remove WISE pathways with Columbus State Community College.
Okay.
There's illness, and so they wanted to adjust for next month, and I was very appreciative of that. We don't want to get sick, so yeah. So we're gonna remove that. Let's see, I had another on here. We're gonna add under new business, bylaw update. Article 3A. And Commissioner James will be speaking to that point. Okay. Any other additions or deletions to the agenda that anyone knows of?
The zoning application, which was for, blood fraud, it's not going to be here.
Okay.
Is that the graphic?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, maybe a short meeting. I don't know. No, Josh said it's going to 10 p.m. I reviewed. Next up is approval of meetings. I am sure that all the commissioners had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes from last month, 9/1, as commissioners, always sent them out right after. So I'm appreciative of that. Did everyone have an opportunity to read the minutes? Are there any additions or deletions or corrections to those? No, hearing none, I move that the minutes from 9/3 full commission meeting be accepted.
Second.
Great. So passed. Wonderful. Moving right along. Next we have the City of Columbus staff reports, and we'll start with the Division of Police. If there's I see fire here. Oh, there's police.
I don't have much.
Can you introduce yourself? And
Sure, I'm Officer Cody with 19th Precinct, the Hilltop Liaison. Some of you guys know me, I think.
Yeah, we know you.
Most of you guys.
Just for the viewing audience.
Yeah, so it's nice. Narcotics has seemed to be stepping things up a lot. We've hit 2 pretty busy dope houses in the last week and got some good stuff out of it. Looking at shutting those down permanently. One on Eureka and one on South Ogden. So that's always good news to me when we can do that. That's all I pretty much have.
Okay. Are there any questions for Officer Cody from the commissioners? There's one on the end.
So there was an officer actually at the end of my street, Chestershire, a couple days ago, causing traffic on Sullivan, which is nice, because I haven't seen that ever probably.
Yeah.
Is that something that's gonna be done more often, or is that kind of like a one-off?
That could be a one-off. I know we're actually have a lot of training officers right now too. And it just depends on how the day is. I know some guys are proactive, and when you're working traffic, you can get a lot of good things, warrants, guns, narcotics. So yeah, that's unusual. Most of the time we're chasing runs because people call in and we have to take calls for service first. But it is nice. Yeah, it's great because I do get a lot of speed complaints, especially on Sullivan and Broad.
Yes, go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. As the Office of Violence Prevention has been stood up, scaled over the last year, can you just describe a little bit of your interaction going on calls, working with those teams, just what you're hearing from your side of those calls?
Yeah, so it was interesting and we can attest to that. We had some really good success, and the way that works is they go after some of our highest profile guys. And it's kind of a long involved process, how we go about it, and he could probably explain it a lot better than I can. But we have had a lot of success with that. We go after basically targeted.
Yeah.
Instead of just throwing a dart at a wall and seeing if it'll stick. We're specifically going after somebody that we know is involved in violent activity, such as narcotics, gangs, and basically just anything to do with heart.
Okay.
So we have had a lot of success.
Okay, appreciate that. All right, we can talk later. Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? No? Our audience, any questions for Officer Cody? No? Appreciate you. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Next up, City Attorney's Office, and when the speakers come up, can you introduce yourself for the viewing audience, and just know that we are streaming live and that it is a public record.
All right, well, Rob Dorson from the Property Action Team in City Attorney Zach Klein's office. So for anybody who's familiar, we handle litigation, anything in court involving problem properties on the west side. One new update on my end for this month, Kane's Sports Bar, which is currently located at 3475 Sullivan Avenue. Thank you very much. Kane's Sports Bar, which is currently located at 3475 Sullivan Avenue. They have, long story short, agreed to cease operations effective January 1st of 2025. They had, I believe, 7 shootings, approximately 7 shootings, 2 other felony offenses of violence on the property over the last couple of years. So long story short, they will not remain in business past January 1st, 2025. With that, happy to take any questions. Yes, sir.
Any updates on the Greyhound bus situation?
The recent discussions on identifying a third site for the temporary site pickups and drop-offs. I think there's been some that I personally have not been privy to, that may be because some locations outside of the west side are being discussed. Just to back up and kind of summarize where things are at. They have agreed to a court order right now to only use the Wilson Road site for transfers. So there shouldn't be people waiting to start their bus journey there, getting dropped off at the end of their bus journey there. They currently have Ohio State and the airport as temporary pickup drop-off locations that are operational. And they need to identify a third site and move any remaining pickup drop-off operations there. So that's a long way of saying I don't know, but I will keep you all updated.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And we have a very, very problematic department. It has increased so much so that it's like a 24/7 store. And today, prostitutes and or others shooting up in your backyard, and it's just a constant flow. Now I've been there 31 years, and I can't think of too many years where this particular apartment has not been selling narcotics, and it's serious trouble. I was from the street, so I know the streets well, and I hadn't seen this volume in years. One problem was somewhat solved, and those trash cans was out on the other side, but on the other side, everything's coming to my side or our side. The neighborhood usually ask me to send out a message of help. Because of fear, if they call, they say that their names are taken down and they fear retaliation.
So, I mean, I can address a couple of things. Number one, I know we've discussed a couple of locations, privately in the past. I just want to say, for what it's worth, if this is an address that we've discussed before, I'm more than, aware of in terms of the need to monitor it. But, you know, what we're able to do on our end from the city attorney's office is just monitor what the calls for service are and what offenses they're tied to. That doesn't mean that we don't go beyond that in terms of following up. And I know in a couple of places we've discussed, I have just to see what, if anything, would be able to present to the board right now on our end. Bearing in mind what the city attorney's office deals with specifically is what a drug house is at the stage where we're holding it up and we show clear convincing evidence that there's drug sales happening there. If it's not an address that we've discussed before or just on general principle, I do want to have a chance to speak privately about where that's located. So I appreciate the information and we'll stay on it, keep trying to do what we can.
Any questions from the audience? I do have another question or maybe just some information. If residents want to report that kind of activity, how do they go about and do that?
Yeah, you should, certainly can't go wrong with calling 311. And actually, folks, that's one thing that I forgot to mention in responding to your question. For whatever it's worth me telling you right now, I know that it is absolutely possible to make narcotics tips anonymously. I know because when I'm looking through all the police runs for a location, I know I'm looking at some of these reports of people calling 645-4545, the police not emergency number. And I'm not sure they don't. Obviously, if I dig far enough, I'll find a phone number, but that's me digging through some stuff that's not public. So you absolutely can report it anonymously. Call 311, call 645-4145.
Okay, thank you. Did you have a question?
Yes, should we as a community track the ancillary impact of the presence of a known drug house? So that Family Dollar is now shutting down. There was a thrift store that they were trying to, really keep that space occupied. I think it's bigger than just the issue of it being a drug house. I think some of the ancillary impact on the community is what's really frustrating a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's a point that I drive home to people who say, the common refrain when we talk about boarding up a drug house that just won't stop even after the police have searched it, is, well, look, the activity is just moving somewhere else. Part of my response is like, well, look, there's folks who have to live next to this. So I think the only answer I can give to your question is yes.
Track that.
Absolutely. And I'm open to continuing that conversation because the answer is yes. And I know that we do have some responsive data that I can't recite off the top of my head. When a drug house is boarded up, for instance, we do see crime in the surrounding area decrease. We do have data that reflect that. Not going to be able to give you numbers off the top of my head, but absolutely.
Okay, so when you talk about, Commissioner, because you brought it up, about tracking it, who are you referring to should track it?
No, that's what I was asking him to please help me to understand. Is the city tracking it or is this something we should do on our own?
Well, and your answer is yes.
Yeah, every ore that we can get in the water is a good thing, but if you have, an outside third-party organization that's interested in doing as much of that work as you can, That's not gonna be something the city of Columbus discourages, but I would strongly encourage you to start by, reach out to me with a public records request. And we'll tell you what we do and don't know. And we're happy to continue a dialogue about whether there's any gaps that can be filled in, whether it's us, or that others can be doing, to stay on top of all that.
Any other questions or comments? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is our Division of Community Engagement City Council.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, please, and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. My name is Jocelyn Martinez Cortez. I am the City Council Community Engagement Representative. Just some quick announcements today. Firstly, I do want to call out that if any of the commissioners or, if anyone else would like some more information about, there is going to be a behind the scenes Snow Warriors experience hosted by the Department of Public Service. It is really limited space. So if you have a question about whether or not you are, should go, please come see me. It is Thursday, so it's a quick turnaround, and it is 1 to 2:30. Additionally, I want to call out that Wednesday, tomorrow, October 2nd, we will be having our Southside Council Community Meeting at 6 p.m. at Borough Community Center. It's a really fun place to go. If you've never been to a city council meeting at City Hall, it is a great place to jump into. Because it's a little bit more relaxed, a little less informed, or a little less formal. So if you would like to go, please go. Again, it's tomorrow at 6 p.m. at Borough Community Center. At 3:30 p.m. tomorrow as well at City Hall, there will be a Public Utilities and Sustainability Committee meeting hosted by Chair White and Vice Chair Remy to learn about proposed changes to Title 13. A new lead elimination assistance program through the Department of Public Utilities. And you'll hear an update on the city's climate action plan goals for 2025. On Thursday, October 3rd, there'll be a Latino Heritage Month event with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion called City Certification Made Simple. It'll be at King Arts Complex at 5:30 p.m. Great event for any Latino businesses. I spoke about it the last time, but there is an Act With Us art contest open to any K through 12 students who attend school in Columbus or live in Columbus or participate in a Columbus Recreation and Parks Department program. This deadline was extended to October 18th. So please, I will leave it on the table. Please feel free to take and share with the young people you know. And then we have the Tech Corps hack. So this is a really fun event for, I believe it's high schoolers, for high school students here in Franklin County to learn about technology and coding and all that fun jazz. Saturday, November 16th. If you're interested, again, there'll be information there. If any of you or someone who has experience in the technology field, they are looking for volunteers as well. And then we will be getting back to city council meetings on Monday, October 7th at 5 p.m. Directly following that, we'll have a Breast Cancer Awareness Month illumination at 6:30 p.m. As a reminder, you can go to the city council meeting at City Hall, or you can also watch it online. Feel free to go to our website to find the CTV live stream link. And then lastly, I want to shout out that October 10th is Latino Policy Day. Speaking about workers' rights in the Latino community at St. Agnes Church. And then tons of more events happening for Latino Heritage Month. And you can find all of the information at Latino Heritage Month, cbus.org. Any questions for me? Yes. Just clarifying for the notes, the Tech Corps, what day is that?
So that is Saturday, November 16th. But there is you have to sign up before that. Thanks. Absolutely. Any other questions? Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you. Next up is Department of Neighborhoods. Ms. Eddie.
Good evening, everyone. Don't have too many updates today. So the Department of Neighborhoods is still finalizing the process to activate, your Staples account. But we have resumed processing orders. So the stickers and magnets that were approved during the last meeting they've been ordered and, shipped, so they should be here this week. The tablecloth, tote, and gavel are in the process of being ordered, waiting for quotes and, ready to submit the order for the tablecloth actually, so hopefully we should have those for the next meeting. There is no area commission training for October. The next training is building and zoning training, which highly recommend if you have not already attended to please do so. And that will be Saturday, November 16th. You expect an email in the coming weeks to register because there is limited space available. And I just wanted to put out an important reminder. So as outlined in your bylaws, so no commissioner can represent the Greater Hilltop Area Commission and its official actions, except as specifically authorized by a majority of the members unless exigent circumstances exist. Sorry, that's me reading it verbatim. But so with that being said, please be careful when you're expressing your views on public platforms. So, your social media posts are subject to public records requests if they refer to commission business. And be very clear that your views are your own, not that of the commission's, unless you get authorization by vote or from the chair or vice chair if those exigent circumstances are present. So this and all of your committee meetings are a public forum. So any documents that are shared during those meetings and presented become part of the public record. And they must be retained in case records requests are submitted for the next 5 years. So just wanted to make all of that clear. So, any questions for me? All right, that's all I got.
Any questions from the audience?
Yes.
Any questions from the audience? No, none from commissioners? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Last but not least, Department of Neighborhoods, Nick is not here, so his designee, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Kevin Orr. I'm the pastor at Linwood United Methodist Church and serve as the vice chair of the Envision Hilltop Advisory Team. We had our quarterly advisory team meeting back earlier in September 10th. We had a presentation from Zirka Abed, who gave an update on My Project USA. We also heard from Ibrahim Assau, who is working with Success by Third Grade, a United Way program to help third graders achieve reading proficiency. They have a relationship with Highland Elementary School. And so he gave an update on all the work they've been doing. And then we also heard presentations from the 3 committees, which is the Home Committee, the People Committee, and the Place Committee. I have access to the slide deck. So if any of you commissioners or anyone in the public would like to receive that slide deck with all of the presentations and information, you can email me at Kevin or glenwoodumc@gmail.com. And our next and final meeting for this year is scheduled for December the 9th from 10 a.m. to noon. And I'll have reminders and ensuing meetings that you'll know. And everyone is welcome to come to these meetings. They're certainly not closed. It's a great opportunity to hear and learn about Envision Hilltop. And again, if you are not familiar with the plan, you can go to envisionhilltop.com and read all about it. There's also a storyboard there where you can click on a map and click on links and get some really rich information about all the different things that have been happening since the Envision Hilltop plan was laid to start back in 2020. So thank you.
Any questions for Reverend Orr? I don't think this is for, I don't have the button on. Any questions from commissioners? Anything from community? No? Thank you. Appreciate it. That concludes our City of Columbus class, staff reports. However, I see some other civil servants in the audience. Didn't know if there was something you wanted to announce or, no?
Present in the future and try to make more meetings.
Can you come up? I know. He's like, why did I speak up? Yeah, but I want everybody to hear this. This is important.
Figure this out. I am Lieutenant Mike Phipps, Columbus Division of Fire. We will come quite a bit before COVID, when COVID happened, so our presence has not been felt here, so we're gonna try to make more meetings if possible. We are on duty, so we could run out at any moment, so if you see us running out, it's not for anything you guys said. We're actually taking a run in the community, so yeah, we're just gonna try to be present, kind of see what's going on and listen to everyone. If you guys have questions, we won't have a lot of information or data with us, but we'll try to get anything for you if you guys need to know anything, so.
Well, we appreciate you being here. Is there any questions that don't require data or anything? Yeah. I kind of try to get that in there, but I see
Station 12, Sullivan and Brinker.
Commissioner.
Just wanna know what's for dinner tonight.
Well, he's late, so we're missing dinner because he had a run.
Gotcha.
Stuffed peppers, I think. Stuffed
Okay,
peppers,
firemen eat
potatoes.
the best of all civil
Yeah.
servants.
I know, I
He kills a
have.
lot of homes too. We've been trying not to, we drove over here just to make up for
Yeah.
it, so.
Any questions from community quickly? No, thank you so much for stepping up. I
Thank you guys for
appreciate
having me.
that.
Appreciate it.
Yes, we look forward to you further attendance. Thank you so much. Any announcements from commissioners? We always have announcements.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Everyone, Gerard Giroux. I have two items here pulling from last month forward. Just a reminder that the Franklin Timbers Hilltop Charity Softball Game is coming up on Saturday, October 19th at 10 a.m. at the Gladden Sports Complex. And there's a form to sign up and play or vote for your chosen charity on. Say it again. Okay, charity's great. Charity's been decided, but more information on the Facebook page. And tomorrow, Wednesday, October 2nd, is National Walker Bike to School Day. So just be aware that there are going to be potentially families walking to and from the schools and kids when you're out and about tomorrow on Wednesday.
Thank you. Commissioner, did you?
Yeah, so last month we had. Last month we had somebody from, I believe it was the, trying to think what office it was, Violence Prevention Office, I believe, talk about the gun buyback. It's not a big surprise that I have feelings on those kind of things, but I just want to show you guys something that this is why this annoys me. So these are some stats from that buyback. $106,000 taxpayer dollars went to that. 234 firearms were given out. These are the stats compared to last year. $136,000, 344 firearms were received, given cash equivalent gift cards. Keep that in mind. So if we go down, this is kind of the filter, the flyer that they were giving out. They were given, what was it, $500 for a handgun or for a rifle, $100 for a shotgun, $500 for a handgun, and $750 for an assault rifle, whatever that is. So these images here are some images. Those handguns were purchased for about $75. That rifle there was purchased for about the equivalent $75. So this person here would have gotten $1,000 for those two handguns and an extra $500 for that rifle right there, if they brought those back. So if we look at this here, not show up very well. That's a trunk full of AR-15 style rifles that was turned in the other day. That individual purchased all of those rifles for about $189 a piece, and then turned them in and received $500 per rifle. So if you look at the second bullet there, his profit was $7,775 that he received in gift cards, turned around and purchased some very nice AR-15 rifles. Those rifles were never on the streets. They were purchased just for this. Now, it was discussed last time that they weren't going to say how much money they were going to be giving for the firearms, because there are two opposites to how these work. So either one, somebody shows up and is like, I'm gonna give you $200 because they're only gonna give you 150. They walk away with an expensive rifle or firearm and they're better off. Or people do this and they realize what's gonna happen. I can put together an AR-15 for under $300 at my house, have all the parts shipped to my house, never go through an FFL. This individual went through an FFL, so the ATF will be knocking on his door because he purchased more than one rifle at a time. That is a rule. He will be flagged. I could do it without that happening and I could make $450 per rifle. These kind of things are very annoying. We could use that money for something. We could target people who are straw purchasing firearms for that. We said $5 million to the ATF, taxpayer dollars from Columbus. That's a federally funded organization. We gave them $5 million to come to Columbus. We're now spending these additional hundreds of thousands of dollars for firearms that half of them almost were purchased from a store just for this purpose. So you see, that's the thing that annoys me. That's why I asked about 3D printed firearms. Print those all day long, turn them in, make all kinds of money. I can put together a pistol for under $100. I can make $400 per. They're not asking for any IDs and they're giving out cash equivalent cards. So now those are untraceable. So now those can be used to purchase firearms. We have no idea where they're at. We have no idea what they're traced on. Those could then flow directly to the streets. We'll have absolutely no clue. So just something to show you guys. I get fired up on this kind of stuff. I know, I'm sorry, but this is where we all have passions, right? I can help in this kind of a thing. I would love to. I could pull that up on eBay or on Google immediately and say, that's a $200 gun. Here's a $200 gift card. Have a great day. And people would stop doing this. But they know that the individuals that are involved in putting these together don't have this knowledge. They're not paying attention. I'm guessing a lot of those don't even have bolt carrier groups. That's the most expensive part of the rifle, and it's not usable without it. I can then turn around and sell that for $100. So you see how that's what gets me frustrated about these kind of things. Just want to show everybody that's where our taxpayer dollars went the other day. Some of those firearms definitely needed to not be out in people's houses. I 100% will give you that. But maybe there's a better way that we can handle this. When asked about this, the city did not give the dispatch a very direct answer. They just said, we're looking into ways that we can better in the future. Great, don't get me wrong, but are we going to involve individuals that understand firearms? Or are we going to continue to involve individuals who have a loose understanding of these things, and we're going to continue down the same path of losing money that's not actually doing anything to prevent violence? So that's my rant. Sorry. Have a good day.
So do you have a suggestion?
For sure. Yes.
Okay, so is there anybody, so before
Please,
we
reach
go
out to
on,
City,
wait
please.
a minute, wait a minute. So is there anyone from the city, OBC, I don't know if there's someone, because we need to like have some connection here apparently. Is there someone in the city that you can identify or someone that can assist or speak to this?
Oh, sorry, the.
Oh, yeah.
I would recommend actually. I would recommend reaching out to the Office of Violence Prevention directly. I don't know if you've already done so.
Many times they did not respond to me.
So can we facilitate that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. Any other announcements? I do have one. GHAC is holding a informational forum. I would encourage everyone to come on October the 10th at 6 p.m. And it's in conjunction and collaboration with the League of Women Voters. It's all about levies and things that are going to be on the ballot. It's just informational. There's no why you should vote for it, why you shouldn't vote for it. It's important to come to this and understand what's on our ballots, right? Without being pushed yay or nay. Just to know exactly how it's going to impact you on an individual and a household level. And so these representatives that are coming to talk about this, and it took a little push to get it done. So I would love to see that the room is full so that we can be educated about what they're all about, because we don't often know, right? We try to read the language, it's confusing. And again, this is not a for or against, it's just informational, okay? So if you could come, again, it's October the 10th at 6 p.m. right here at the library. And it's probably gonna last just about an hour, okay? So please come. One last call for any other announcements, anything? No? Okay, we're gonna go into our presentation, so we only have one. We started out with 3 or 4, now we have 1. So, historical Hilltop Bank Block, Ms. James is going to talk for about 15 minutes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Betty James. That's Jaynes. And I'm chair of Hilltop Rise. So going on to the next slide, who is Hilltop Rise? I know we came here initially and kind of told you about what we were going to do. We actually launched, we're quite young, in March of 2022. So our mission is to facilitate mindful economic development on the hilltop. I'm not going to read this. It's so annoying when people get up and read their slides. But I will tell you that the hilltop is one of the oldest and largest neighborhoods. But as I don't need to tell anyone here, we've been persistently disinvested. The population of the hilltop is actually larger than Springfield or Youngstown. But what we did lack before last year was a full-time quarterback, a cheerleader, somebody who could tell other people about our potential. So Hilltop Rise is working on the hilltop for the hilltop. We work with a lot of different agencies and organizations to kind of connect folks to the potential of our corridors. And we work to attract private investments and also work with current business and property owners. And we're committed to historic preservation whenever possible. So our focus is primarily West Broad and Sullivan Avenues, our commercial corridors. So if you can go on to the next slide, I talked about historical preservation. You can't get much more historical than a JFK motorcade. We believe it was sometime between 70. We know it was probably in 1970 when he was campaigning. This is the historic Hilltop Bank building. According to the auditor's website, it was built in 1928, first opened as a Citizens Trust savings. Jenny can tell you all about the bank robbery that happened in 1938. They got $3,500, resulting in a gunfight where both bandits were killed. 2 detectives were shot, and sadly, Officer Robert Klein would later die from his injuries. It was transferred then, you can see there, it's Ohio National Bank, acquired later by National City, then Bank Ohio. I do not believe this branch ever operated as PNC, and it closed around 1995. If you can go on to the next slide, it is now home to the Roosevelt Coffee Roasters. And you can see their equipment there in the bottom left. Interestingly enough, Roosevelt Coffee Roasters was actually priced out of Franklinton. The landlord for their building was gonna sell it. He looked everywhere. And there just simply was not any affordable space. And that's something that Hilltop Rise is committed to attaining or maintaining affordable commercial space. We always talk about affordable housing, but affordable commercial space is really critical for our women, minority-owned businesses, young entrepreneurs. So you can see where the previous owners started to expose the natural brick. You can see the Roosevelt coffee roasting machine there on the bottom left. The center picture is from the second floor offices, and it's just a cool location. And of course, the vault on the right, they were able to get into the vault, haven't been able to crack the safe yet. I always say we need to have Geraldo Rivera come down and have a safe cracking party. And the reason we became involved in this project is to maintain and keep this history on the hilltop. So you can go to the next slide. This is a history of the recent bank lot. The previous owners purchased it in April 2019. They had some really ambitious plans, had a lot of visioning come up, and they developed all of these plans. and they just couldn't make the numbers work. So they listed the property in 2022, and that's when we became involved, because everyone they talked to, they couldn't make the numbers work without demolishing the historic bank building. So in January of 2024, and I've got to credit Morgan DeVoe on this. It was her relationship building skills and her getting out into the community and talking to property owners to figure out what's going on. When it became apparent, and actually, I will tell you, we tried to purchase the building, and as a young nonprofit, we couldn't put the numbers together either. So in 2024, we signed a letter of intent with the property owners to purchase the bank block. Many of them shared our commitment to keeping the bank building. And then in January 2024, later that month, we signed a memo of understanding with NextGen regarding the purchase and development of the historic bank block. And we, in that MOU, shall serve as community liaisons throughout NextGen's ownership of the property and during the redesign process with the developers. And we shall be responsible for developing and improving the property. So we are the community's voice in this project, and NextGen closed actually just about a month ago. For those who don't know, NextGen was created in 2022 by former Mayor Michael Coleman. And its purpose is to identify underutilized property in core neighborhoods that have the potential to thrive. Sound like the neighborhood y'all know? They accomplish this by identifying underutilized land and properties. They gain control of the property, create a master plan, and complete feasibility studies. They have been a very strong partner, very excited about being able to start work on the hilltop. Then their projects are later positioned for sale to developers to complete the development process. So if you go to the next slide, and again, I'm not going to read this all to you, but this is directly from the MOU, and what our responsibility as Hilltop Rise will be to be the voice of the community. And I think really important to see is that because we assert the importance of historic preservation, this is what's really good is that throughout the design and renovation, we all have to agree. So the agreements between NextGen and the developer and Hilltop Rise have to be unanimous. So regardless of what the developer wants to do, they need to come in and listen to us after me listening to you. And we envision a dance between the old and the new. The old will hold hands with the new, but the common thread through all of these development plans will be our people. And that's why I'm here today. So if you go to the next slide, you can see the current state of the bank block. And it includes the historic bank building, which we just talked about, and will remain as part of this block. The other parcels contain the early childhood footprints, childcare center, Feed My Sheep, Halt Violence, Cut Records, although they are relocating this week. So that space will be vacant, and Natural Talent Dance Studios. There are 4 occupied apartments on the 2nd floor, and there are another 4 apartments that have been deemed uninhabitable. A few of the leases expire in April 2026. So this is going to give us time to talk to the community, work with developers, and develop a plan. Go on to the next slide, just to show you an overview of the space that we're talking about. West Broad Street is along the bottom. The area in black contains the bank block minus the bank building. And then I got my little trusty, if it works. Oh, it's going to be so cool. And it's not working. Anyway, the The parcels 132, 131, and then 73 and 74, those are owned by Next Gen, and they will be part of this plan to be able to not only have parking, but to be able to think creatively about what we can do with this space. And they will be, of course, offered to a community-minded developer. So next steps is to seek community input. Again, the bank building will remain, the rest of the block is being evaluated. Some of the storefronts have basements, most are unusable. I've not been down any of them, only because I don't like normal basements, much less scary basements. And as I mentioned, 4 of the apartments are uninhabitable. So I'm here today to ask, what do you all want to see? We're having these input sessions, you know, I attended the Planet Economic Committee meeting, was that last week? I will be going to Highland West Civic Association, Envision Hilltop subcommittees, and after all of the listening sessions, I will publish a survey that gets greater community input. So, questions, I'm gonna put it out there, what do you all want to see in this block? Yes, and you can go back to the picture of the block if you want, yes.
Is the bank in there? I mean, is the roaster in there?
Is the roster in there? They're still in there, correct?
Yes, yes,
And
yeah, and their lease, we just renewed their lease, and we expect them to stay.
Got it. And so they would be plot number 1 on that picture?
Yes,
Okay, that makes sense. And so you're asking what you should do with the rest of that?
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 is the bank block minus the bank building. And then the parcels to the north of that are, some of them's parking lots, some of them are, land bank properties and vacant land.
So can I ask the question part now that I know that?
Oh, now you have questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is there any interest in the possibility of, so when you go to Franklin Park, they now have the East Market, right? Every side of town has a market. Is there any interest in building this out in a way that a mom and pop could take a chance, put up a stand, but if they fail, the whole building doesn't end up empty? You just replace that space.
So it's like stalls,
Stalls of some
Okay.
sort, yeah.
okay? That has been talked about.
I think Commissioner Hannah had a question.
Yeah, when you're saying that you're looking for community inputs, you mentioned which ones, I know you said you're gonna contact Highland Civic Association. But what, because I haven't, maybe I haven't, like, I haven't checked Facebook, but is there other ways that we're reaching out to community members? Because I just want to make sure that folks around that area are also being notified of it.
Right. Well, we just closed in September. I was out of the country for 2 weeks, so this is actually only my second listening session. So we haven't, and in our, so yes, we're going to show and invite people to these listening sessions. Primarily with the Planet Economic, it's here because you all have a great reach, either in person or on the web. Highland West Civic Association, and then the Westgate Neighbors Association, and then the community, the subcommittees. Then we will be publishing a survey. And so we are going out to, I mean, if there is an organization you want us to go to that we can get some community input, I'm happy to do that.
I mean, I'm thinking of a lot of the churches around that area, because most of the congregation live in the area. And then I know Coach, maybe reach out to you too, to see, because I know there's gonna be a lot of input that's in it.
Okay. That's good feedback, yes.
Question, what's the vibe from the current business owners who are there now?
Next Gen has met with each one of them and has let them know that even though some of their leases say 30-day notice, we're not gonna kick them out 30 days. As I say, we've got some of the leases through 2026. They've been receptive. there are, Cut Records did move because they felt like, they didn't have a long-term plan to stay there. But that's a good question, and I'm meeting with them next week, and I'll ask what the general feedback was.
Is all violence in that just? in that
They
area?
are.
Okay.
Is that a concern
Yeah,
about?
you talked to him yet?
I've not,
Okay. I know you said you've been out of the side of the country, I'm just wondering. He's planning, I think he has a long-term, he had sent me something about zoning a long time ago, but then nothing happened. All violence, yeah, like they have some, they wanted to change their back parking lot.
okay. Boyd Stafford with Next Gen and Tracy have been out and talked to each one of them. I will be meeting with Boyce next week, so I will ask that question of what are some of the concerns from the current tenants?
Is
I-
the shop right there too?
No.
Yeah, this is what I'm thinking, right? So we won't have, I mean, to add, you know, what's our thoughts about the property, it's kind of just off the top of the head, right? So I think in order to give it, the amount of attention that it deserves and needs, that perhaps we will, and I'll talk to the chairs of the committees, collaborate in having a listening or, you know, some kind of event perhaps for any, what's your timeline? That's the other question I have. What's the timeline?
We would like to start working with developers. I mean, as soon as we get feedback from the community, because they're gonna have to find funding. They're going to have to do, you know, draw up plans, and then those plans will come back to the community. So I would say within the next 60 days, I'd like to have something that we can take to the developers and show them this is what the community wants, this is the appetite that they have. And so I'll answer some other questions, and I'm gonna ask you guys some questions, so.
Well, wait a minute, I'm not quite done yet. So, what I'm thinking is I want to make sure that we ask those populations who are often forgotten, right? About that particular area, and those buildings and those that are underserved. So I want to make sure that the questions are asked of as many, and I know that's your desire too, residents as possible, what they would like to see there. Because we probably will come up, there'll probably be a lot of folks that come up with some really unique ideas. And so we want to make sure that we include those. That's why I'm saying that perhaps there's a way in which the commissioner, some of the commissioners, or whatever the case may be, can partner with your organization to make sure that that kind of happens in a number of different ways. Because we know from experience that oftentimes that doesn't happen, even with surveys we have, and we can't reach everybody. So the more we can reach, the better, I would say.
I absolutely agree.
Okay, great. So then, was there any other questions from commissioners?
Well, this one you could spend all night.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I can take a night and digest and email you.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have one more. I
Well,
think
wait
it's
a minute, let
relevant.
me let Nick go first, because you've already asked.
Yeah, my only comment would be if the childcare center does not remain there. Or in the, whatever, how the space is reconfigured, that we have to make sure that we help every single one of the families that rely on that facility find additional childcare, new childcare opportunities.
Yes.
Because it's hard enough finding childcare where people have it and we pull it out from under them for development that may or may not benefit the community in the long run.
Right.
That's devastating to those families.
We are unclear how active this child care center is.
I know I've seen some cards out, but yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that Boyce was gonna ask is, to your point, how many families are being served there? And, how can we help them if they are displaced?
Is this Kevin Woods? Is it Woods or something?
No.
Boyce
No,
Stafford.
voice that, yeah, go ahead.
Across the street is that big apartment complex that caught fire that's vacant, or do we know what that's doing? Because that would determine what happens here too, right?
Right. I wasn't gonna talk about that tonight, but I will tell you, we are working with the Columbus Landmarks Foundation and the owner in an attempt to save and renovate that building.
Got it.
As it sits right now.
Got it.
But we're running into some challenges with that, but yes, we are actively engaged in that.
So did you have a couple more things? I see Josh has a question, so we want to make sure we stay in line with our agenda as well. So, I think Commissioner Josh has a question and James has a question. So either one of you go right ahead and we'll be quick so we can stay on timeline.
So my concern right off the bat is if Mayor Coleman is involved in this, he's gonna make a lot of money off something that he never really truly cared as much about our side of town. So that just inherently concerns me. But what is to prevent them from kicking everybody out at these 30 days? Because there are already 4 apartments that are in court right now. So couldn't they just go ahead and use that to deem the rest of the buildings unlivable or uninhabitable and go ahead and tear it down immediately so he can start making his money quickly? What prevents him from doing that?
The city and Next Gen is not going to make money on this property. The way it will work is they bought the property. And depending on what happens, it will be transferred to a developer because you cannot make, for what the property sold for, you're not going to be able to make money on this, and they will not get their money back. Mayor Coleman only started it. Next Gen is actually, they're still active at working with the development department of development. And so there's not, the profit is not going to be there. I understand what you're saying, and I had those same concerns, but when I looked at the numbers,
Wouldn't it behoove them to start that process more quickly so they can start making money though?
well,
Instead of waiting until 2026 on their hands and their investment is.
I mentioned that we were the liaison, community liaison.
Sure.
And so we will push back on that. Boyce has already said he's gonna honor those leases that go through 2026. And the process is going to take much longer than that, just to get environmental studies, to get plans, to identify developers. So no one is going to be kicked out.
But so there isn't any teeth to it. It's just they've said they're not going to.
You have my word.
I'm not saying anything against you, but trust me. I understand where you're coming from. I do. I'm just saying, I know how individuals from the city have worked throughout forever. And they always want to make money, and whatever they can on properties and developments, they do. And so this concerns me that he could very easily say that the whole structure, all of this needs to be razzed because of the apartments that are already uninhabitable. It doesn't sound like we have anything other than word. Word can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Trust me, I get it. But I just want to make sure from at the end of the day, the answer is not, he could if he wanted to.
No, he can't because of the MOU. The MOU has teeth.
It does have teeth. Okay, so then we have 2 more. We only 2 more. And James was next. Now I gotta put on my coach hat, right? James is next, and then there was another hand over here because we want to stay on our timeline. Okay, go ahead.
Did Cut Records stay in the community? Okay.
Yes.
And then my other question is, are you thinking of a mixed use development where it's commercial on the first floor? And then how many floors are you gonna go up? Are you gonna go 2 or 3 above that? As your
How many would you support?
Depending on if they're gonna be affordable units, go to the moon. Because we're out of affordable housing, especially here in the Hilltop. And then my last question is, Next Gen actively working in the Hilltop purchase more projects like this?
Yes, yes, and yes. They already have a property that they own. And we're working with them to activate it as well. And they are actually helping us on the watershed building. So they are actively involved. The challenge with the Hilltop is there wasn't anybody driving this. And so now that there is, they're excited to have somebody on the hilltop helping them, because they need a community partner. And that's what he needed in order to get this project going.
One more question. Was there another question over here? No, I saw a hand. Go right ahead.
So really quick too, for the commission, Betty was kind enough to come to the Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting. We're gonna save this for our, when we talked about our stuff. You know, some of the things that we highlighted were importance of green space, making sure that, a certain amount of housing in the property would stay affordable. So at or below 20%, area median income residents. I think we're gonna be really excited to continue the conversations at our Planning and Economic Development Committee meetings, which Betty is part of. So if anybody has opinions on the project, I would encourage you guys to join us on the third Thursdays, as well as to the public for that as well. Betty, is there, and I apologize if you said this, but is there a timeline of when you want the listening tours to be wrapped up?
Probably, I mean, I don't want to stop the conversation, but I want to push the conversation, if that makes sense. I would like to have it, because the sooner we have the community input, the sooner we can start going out to developers. And to Simon's point, that we did discuss a mixed use. Zone in allows for 4 stories. I think there was some conversation about if we can get affordable housing where a portion of the units are at 80 and 100% AMI, how tall would the community be comfortable in going? And it would be mixed use. If we did that, it would be mixed use, and the first floor would be affordable commercial space. I like your idea of a market and stalls. And then, you know, one of the things, and I know we want to wrap this up, but start thinking about what if we went that route, what would you want to see on the first floor? Knowing that there is going to be a BRT station real close. So what transit-oriented development would you like to see there? Getting off the bus, what do you need when you get off the bus? So start thinking about those questions.
And so I would encourage everybody, commissioners and public, to come to the Planning and Economic Development Committee meetings, because we will make sure to designate a certain amount of time at each meeting to discuss this in further detail. And we will make that at least 15 minutes moving forward.
That's good. So the Planning and Economic Committee, and they're gonna say what time they meet in October and the date. But I also would like to hear more voices, not just planning and economic. So perhaps there may be some individual commissioners that, or whomever, or, you know, our residents that want to lead some conversations or presented, or have Betty come out and talk to churches and things to that nature, not just one perspective, but many. Which would be good for the commission.
Would the commission be open to hosting a town hall where we can get the voices in the room? Because I would like to hear as many people as possible, but I would like to do it in groups as opposed to, you know, just for time and efficiency.
Yeah, which I was offering at the beginning, but I kind of got talked through. So I'll talk with our commissioners and see if that's something that we want to do. If that's not the case, then I mean, individually, because we can operate individually as well, not as commissioners, to host groups as well, okay?
And I like your idea of the subcommittees. I'm passing out our 2023 impact report, just so for those of you who don't know who we are and what we've done so far. I'm really excited about the next one, because I think we're gonna see a lot of changes. There are a lot more impact. So that's all I have. Any other questions?
No questions. We've asked a lot of questions at the commission table. Is there any from residents or guests? No? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, next up is reports of officers. I have nothing.
No report.
Secretary
Nothing at this time.
and our treasurer.
So all I have to report and, take or just keep this in the back of your mind is we're gonna be voting on, some amendments to the budget. But essentially right now, we're over appropriated, if that's a word, by about $656.14. So that's what our later vote will be on, is to reduce that to $5,000 under. That way we're within Department of Neighborhood's allocation of $5,000. But yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, keep this in mind, it's gonna come up again. Committee reports, zoning. Our co-chairs,
You want me to do it?
Should we do the application first?
Yeah.
Okay. You can do the application.
Yeah, so we have one application this evening for 132 North Huron Avenue. Gonna come forward, this is a request for a new garage built on the site that would require square footage to go from the zone 720 square feet up to 1122 square feet, and the height from 15 up to 18 square feet. At the zoning committee, we did vote 3 to nothing to approve these zoning variances. When you're ready, go ahead and introduce yourself, and you can walk the commission through your requests.
Yes, my name is John Patterson. I'm the owner of Building Service Associates. I'm the designer for this project. What we're proposing is tearing down the existing garage that you can kind of see at the back of the picture there. We build a new detached garage.
Sir, can you turn the mic on? Is it?
Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Is that better?
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
So, do I need to repeat anything? So what we're proposing is, my client has a concrete business and he has several large trucks. Now, he's not running the business out of his house. He has a shop in Hilliard. But he does have a couple of trucks. And his wife has a large SUV. And so his goal is to get his trucks off the street. And get them secured inside of a secure structure. So his proposal is building a garage that's big enough that he can get 2 trucks and his wife's SUV in this garage. And to achieve that, we need to increase the square footage from the 720 square feet to 122 square feet. In addition to that, the owner would like to put a couple of lifts inside the garage for future cars that he may purchase for hobby cars. And so he wants to put these lifts above where he's going to park his truck. So that's the reason we're asking for the increase in the height from 15 feet to 18 feet. So, what we're trying to do is just get this, so you get these large trucks off the street, and the street's pretty congested. So it's gonna benefit not only him, but the neighborhood also, as far as getting these trucks off the street. So that's our proposal. It's City of Columbus, we've already, submitted to City of Columbus, obviously. We've addressed their concerns. And, they don't have any other concerns with the project at this time. That's it. Any questions? Yes.
In working with your client and are you aware of any conversations with any other neighbors immediately next door, particularly or across on the back where they would be seeing this and have
No.
shared any comments with you?
No. He does have a sign out in front of his property talking about the variance.
Okay, thank you.
That the City of Columbus provides them. That's been posted for the last couple of months. So it's not, the community hasn't been notified. Plus, certified letters have been sent out all the time to within 150 feet.
Yeah, thank you.
So. Certified's been notified.
I will note too that I live right around the corner from there. So I walked over and knocked on the neighbors on either side of there just to see. Neighbor on the north side had no problem with that, the commission.
Since I wasn't at the zoning meeting, what were the comments from the other commissioners? Any issues or no?
Our big concern that we talked about was making sure it's still the set back from the other property lines, where it is. There is no zoning variance from that. It's against the alleyway. We did ask about the neighbor's tree and that, but it wasn't gonna interfere with any of that. So those were kind of the main conversation points.
One of the things that's changed from that three-dimensional picture seems on there, originally we had proposed putting a drive, obviously off of the alleyway in the back to get in the garage, and also the drive from the one car space out towards Sharon Avenue. But that's been changed, that's been taken off. That was one of the concerns that the city of Columbus had, they wouldn't let us run that through there like that. So that's, that picture's not quite accurate, showing that drive going north to Sharon Avenue.
What was that?
Commissioner James, did you have a question? Did you have a question?
Oh, yes.
Raise your hand.
Are you directly running the roof drainage to the curb? Or are you pitching that to the alley?
It'll go to the alley.
Did you have one there?
Just a comment about the committee. The structure is gonna be cement block, right? Because we had some questions about fire safety or just what the construction materials were. So just wanted to add that comment. That's okay.
Josh, you had.
What was their concern about the drive-through?
It was like creating another street, I think. They never really were real clear as far as why they didn't want it. They just said they wouldn't allow it.
There are plenty of them in the neighborhood, I'll say that.
Yes, well, so we ended up taking, that's fine, so we took off.
From a safety perspective, it's better.
I guess, it's almost like you're creating another street. In a way.
Sure.
But they weren't real clear as far as why.
Okay.
Nick, was there another one?
Oh, yeah, where is the access, just help me understand again where the access point is? It's from Huron or is it from the alley?
The alley. So it's to the right of the picture down there is the access, because that's the alley on the.
Okay.
And then the drive that you see going off, that's the drive that went out to here.
Okay.
It's not gonna be there now.
But you're removing the whole driveway?
Well, there's a driveway there now. Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna go away.
Okay. Is there any other questions from commissioners?
So to clarify, you didn't submit variance for the setbacks for the neighbors, because you have it listed as 3 feet. And I know the setback is 5.
According to what we've been told, and it's been from the city of Columbus, at 3 feet was okay.
Okay, is there anything else? Is there any other questions?
I would just say,
That's what they did.
You are.
They told you the wrong thing.
You are correct, James.
So if you gotta come back for another variance, just be
No, that-
mindful of that.
we submitted the city of Columbus showing the 3-foot setback on each side. And, they reviewed everything. We got comments from all the different entities in the city of Columbus. Nobody said anything about the setback.
So here's the thing. We're gonna keep moving.
Yeah.
And so Nick, you presented this, so what do you wanna do next?
Rachel, do you know about the setback rules? Cause I thought it was 3 based on the application.
Well, we can only consider something that comes before us in the application. I would just say if the city makes you submit another request for variance, don't let them charge you another application fee. Because they should have thought it the first time.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
I
you
don't
can
know
try.
how successful.
But other than that, you can
Yeah.
move for.
Okay. So I move to approve the 2 variances as submitted for the square footage and for the height variance as requested.
Second.
I heard Jenny. Okay, thank you. Or. Start the vote with our co-chairs, co-chair Bates, how do you vote?
Yes.
And co-chair Wayne?
I'm also a yes.
Okay, and I'll start on the left here with the note. How do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Schmidt.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
White,
Yes.
yes. Pepper. Butchie.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that is 14. in favor.
Thank you.
I think it's. Just as the update for our next meeting, we will meet October 15th, 6 p.m. here in the library. We have one application, which is 56 North Oakley Avenue. It's a variance for a 24 by 30-foot existing metal structure. Possibly 1970 West Broad will be coming back with some changes, but I'm not sure about that yet, but definitely we'll be hearing 56 North Oakley.
Thank you. Next step is, and we did remove that from the agenda, right, at the beginning? I can't find it right.
Yes.
Okay, good. Community relations, is that next?
Don't have any notes. I was not at the meeting on the wanting that meeting was. I was not in one. Does anybody have any, you guys discuss anything during that?
No, not generally, but there was a few of us at Rise Up at Ethan on the 19th. I think was that the latest community event.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the best.
Yep.
The last one.
And we have some additional things to discuss later towards the end of the meeting. But for now, the next meeting will be the 22nd, Best Side, 7 p.m.
Government and legislation.
Yes, so we're not gonna have an election this year. We have 4 petitions. Those 4 petitioners are now area commissioners. So there's no election this Saturday. We did discuss bylaw changes and updates that I will discuss further in the business.
Who are the 4?
Shoot, sorry.
Oh, I cut you off.
Actually, do you have those saved?
Sorry, can you say that?
The new area commissioners,
I get it that way. Josh Maddox.
Josh Maddox, Carla Carr, Terry Rue, and
Brandon Barnes.
Brandon Barnes.
I just wanted it on record,
We
right?
did, yeah, we did put
Okay,
an
good
announcement
job.
on Facebook.
Human services and education. Okay, let's move on to, strikers. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much. So we met last on September 24th. We had a good discussion, no major comments from today. Next meeting is October 16th at the library here at 6 o'clock.
Liquor permit, but I don't think.
Yeah,
Okay. Next up, is planning and economic development.
So we met about 2 weeks ago and, we got to hear from, Betty James, who, we just spoke with tonight on the bank block. Thanks, Simon, for, talking kind of about the engagement that we had, as far as the bank block project. We also talked with, Catherine Swidarski of Vision Zero. Kind of about that program and about some of the different projects that are going on in the Hilltop. We actually had record turnout of about 30 people at this meeting, most of them OSU students for community engagement project. So we were able to engage with them and kind of discuss a lot of the exciting things happening on the Hilltop. So some of the projects actually that I wanted to update folks on, and you know, just like on what I get a lot of questions on. So there is a project I think some of you have actually asked about, Sullivan Avenue eastbound ramp project, which is over here on Sullivan from Ryan Avenue to I-70. Basically a study began in 2021 to kind of reduce the flow or reduce the speed of traffic there, and improves pedestrian safety and mobility there. So currently that project is complete. They're just growing the grass there. One thing they did do is they took out a concrete island at a crosswalk on Ryan Avenue. Now I tried to reach out, I haven't gotten a response yet from public service, but, I was able to, talk to someone there and they essentially just said it was, like it didn't fit their design anymore, essentially. So I kind of want to keep an eye on that project to see if the concrete island is still needed there or not. And then another project is the Moo Car Wash. So Central Avenue, a lot of people are asking what's being built there. It's a Moo Car Wash. So that I reached out to the company that owns that, and they're supposed to be done with that mid-December. And then I do have one item. This is something we're gonna vote on tonight. So Josh, if you wouldn't mind pulling up the map. So a big item.
Ask for that now.
Huh?
Are you asking for that now? Is that new business or old business?
Oh, do you want me to?
Yeah, we'll wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll wait on that, but that's my committee update. October 17th is our next meeting, 6 p.m. at the Hilltop Library. Hope to see you all there.
All right, next up, public safety.
So, we had a meeting last Thursday, on the 26th. There was no turnout, and so there's nothing to really report. Joe, if you wanted me to answer questions about OVP, I'm happy to answer those.
Next meeting.
Sure.
Well, I mean, what is the next?
Oh, the next meeting will be on the 24th of October. And just remember, that's the fourth Thursday, not the last Thursday of the month.
Okay, recreations and parks.
Yes, we had our last new park audit, last month. We stopped at Burroughs, we stopped at Hiltonia Park. We will be meeting back here at the library after Human Service and Education, this month.
10/16.
Yeah, on the 16th, we're gonna be finalizing our park audits, so we can get those over to the Columbus Department of Recreation and Park, so that they can start working on getting us updates on some of the issues that we've identified, park improvements that need to be done. Again, we're gonna be meeting in the library October 16th after Human Service and Education to go over those park audits. We also had an OSU student come out to kind of engage with the commission. We'll also help pick up trash as well as another Boy Scout who came out to be involved and engaged, to ask us questions about what all our committee is for the Hilltop. So I appreciate everybody's help this past summer with picking up trash. I kind of lost count on the bags, but don't let that discourage you. It wasn't a whole lot, but I do appreciate everybody's effort when it comes to keeping our parks clean. I'm still waiting to hear back from the department on the letter of support that we submitted to hopefully add another 42 acres to our parks here in the Hilltop. With that, I have nothing else.
Great, thank you. So let's move on to unfinished business, which is the purchase of marketing materials and gavel. We need a gavel. So it would be the marketing, so we bringing it up.
So is this just the budget portion, or do you want an update too from community relations on the purchase of marketing material?
So this is the purchase of marketing material and gavel. Yeah. So the update would be about what?
Question, what would you like updated upon?
So we're at, so this is about the vote, right? You're gonna discuss about the budget, right, and the changes, and then we're gonna make a vote, right? Okay.
Okay.
Are we on the same page?
Yeah, we got.
We are on the same page, we just said it differently. If there's something for community relations to say, they can say it at this point too.
Right, thank you,
Okay.
Chair, I appreciate
Yeah.
it. And so with the motion from last meeting, we have an appropriated balance of $5,656.14.
Yeah.
With.
Mhm.
And with our allocation from Department of Neighborhoods only being 5,000, we gotta either get it to equal that or reduce it. So I'm gonna make a motion to decrease the 2024-2025 budget for Assistant Secretary position by $150. The 2024 GHAC election by $100. And the budget for group trainings by $500. Can I get a second?
Second.
We got it? Motion, so passed, right? You have to take, no, we gotta take a vote, that's right. I'm just trying to get us,
Right
keep us
here.
in line.
Where did I go
Okay.
second?
Who was at the second? James.
That's what it'd be a hassle to put up the documents that you had before, just about how all the money's being.
And I can provide some color on that. So yeah, this is the budget as it stands now. So the motion that I just presented, you can see on the fourth line there, Assistant Secretary position. We're just backing out 2 months of pay just because it's been a little delayed as to where we originally budgeted for. And then the GHAC election as Chair of Government Legislation Committee, James White pointed out, we're not having an election, so we're completely taking that $100 out on the fourth to last line. And then the group trainings, we had originally thought that over the summer or around August recess that we might do a group training. But it's just looking like that won't happen by the end of the year. So we're just taking that out. And that will reduce our appropriated balance to $4,906.14. And so we should be in line with Department of Neighborhoods allocation. I do see us possibly revising the budget once more after December 31st, just because there's a chance we might not spend the $2,500 that we need to spend by the end of the year. So I encourage everyone, if you got money, if you can spend it now. So. And any questions?
And the program year ends when?
So for the first $2,500, it's December 31st. And then the that last $2,500, it's April 30th. And I believe after that, was just gonna, be on the regular budget cycle again. Yeah.
So the funds that expire at the end of the year, you said that we may not spend that $2,500. What would we need to spend?
I believe, let me look at my report here. So right now we have exhausted just about $517. And I believe recently, actually, how much marketing materials have been spent so far? Because that's not included in this figure.
Yes, yeah, I sent you that earlier today, say I was gonna share that tonight. So far on just the magnets and the stickers, we've spent $293.98. So the things we have not ordered yet are the tablecloth, the gavel, and trying to decide what kind of tote we need. So that was what that 1,500, so we're definitely well under that. For that, but again, just budgeting just in case we went a little bit. Didn't want to put us in a place where we have to cut back, so.
Yeah, thank you.
It's fine.
Yeah, thank you for that. So we should have it, just $1,700 left to spend until December 31st in order to go through all that. But a lot of that should hopefully be the marketing materials, some subscription services, and whatever everyone else,
T-shirts.
the T-shirts, yeah. So I think we're on the right track right here.
Good. Okay. Did that answer your question, Dan? Okay,
Thank you.
all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ready to take a vote?
Yeah.
Okay, we have the motion here. There are 3 items, 3 line items reducing by 5, 6, 750. We'll start with Treasurer Smith.
Yes.
And then I'm gonna start across the room.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Moore, Neil.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't imagine anyone wants to lose anybody. Why-
Yes.
Okay. Hey,
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Commissioner
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Maddox. Yes.
Yes.
And thank you. Okay, and then just not present. Anybody?
You good to go forward? Good? Okay,
thank you.
was there something else that was related to that that needed to be said from community relations? No, yeah, 'cause you asked me about community relations.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure.
That was the dollar figures.
Okay.
Whatever.
Got it, so we're good there, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. New business, bylaw update. From Commissioner
Yes, so,
James.
one bylaw in that we're gonna be addressing, is page 3, article 3, meetings, section A. When it reads, general regular public meetings shall be held on the first Tuesday of each month, beginning no earlier than 7 p.m. We will be updating the 7 p.m. start times to 5:30, because we already meet now at 6:30. This is just to update the single start time, in case there are any other changes moving forward that we need to start any sooner than 6:30. But again, just to get our current process in line with the bylaws, we're just singly changing 7 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns? As I presented the single change to the bylaws in Article 3. Yeah, Article 3, Section A.
Miss Eddie, do you have any comment to that? Okay. She was like one.
Does it have to be a specific time?
So that our meetings currently are written that way, into not get into the weeds of rewriting that whole section. And again, to be kind of fair to our community, I think keeping the time there so that we don't potentially run the risk of having meetings at the first Tuesday at 10 a.m. You know, in some pizzeria, not in the Hilltop. I just prefer the time to stay in there. Because a lot of us currently as commissioners have full-time jobs, so not to disenfranchise anybody on the commission or in the community. I think starting no earlier than 5:30 p.m. was my mindset and why I chose that time instead of our current 6:30 p.m. start.
Don't disagree with that at all. All I'm saying is if we want it to be evergreen, we don't have to continue to do this. If we could do it to a point, because I'm never gonna approve going at 10 a.m. I got a job too. I don't think anybody here would, and we wouldn't have a quorum. So we wouldn't be able to do it anyway. So it's not feasible we do it. I'm just trying to think there are ways that we don't have to continually do this all the time. Maybe we change it to 5. Well, now we can't because it's 5:30 and that's all I'm saying.
Does anybody else have any comments, questions, or concerns? This is the first reading of this bylaw change. The next one will be November, which we also need to discuss the dates. So that first Tuesday is election day.
Okay. Okay. So decision, right? So our next meeting is on election day. Right? So real quickly, because it's only 8:06, I'm so proud of us. What's your thoughts on that?
In the past, we've just moved it to the following Tuesday.
I know, but I just wanted to see if there were some alternative thoughts.
Got it.
Is the following Tuesday okay?
Let me just check our.
Yeah.
No,
What? You said no, because you have another commission meeting? Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The 12th is currently open, though. We don't have any meetings
okay.
currently scheduled on.
Well, OLBC won't be here, but
9th of October.
no, we're not. So you can send us on her notes. Yeah. That's okay. Yep, we understand. So how are we feeling about, what's the date again?
November 5,
Move
to November 12.
to November 12th. Right.
You might need a different site.
That's okay, we'll find it. We have some really good partners, don't we? Okay. But we'll check here first and then we'll go from there. Okay.
What makes swim teams practice?
I'm sorry.
If we're at Glenwood, I just tell my kids to walk over and
Yeah,
the swim team behind it.
Yeah, we have some really amazing partners on the hilltop. So, are we kind of good with that? Then we'll take a vote? Yeah, okay. You wanna,
Do you want to roll or do we just
let's just,
select names?
I know. It's like, can we just like to all
Yeah.
say yeah and then,
I would voice vote.
yeah, we good with a voice vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we are, a motion that we move the November meeting because of the conflict with the election to the following Tuesday, from the first Tuesday to the second Tuesday, which is November the, I forgot. 12th, they all know, November the 12th. You second it? Okay, can we have a voice vote?
All in favor?
All
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Cool. Great, so the meeting for next month is on November the 12th. At same time, maybe a different location, you'll get a notification. Yeah, having said that, because we have a different, we may have a different location, I wanna invite Mike, he had a couple of announcements. He's our collaborator here at the library, and he's gonna go real quick, I know.
Yeah, I'll keep it super short. I think maybe I'm the only thing standing between y'all and the early closure to the meeting.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, Mike Alcock, Community Support Leader here at the Hilltop branch of the library. Quick reminder, I think from last month, I shared that we have a new Youth Services Manager, Kayla Ladd, who has now started and is eager to connect with community members, community organizations, look for more alignment with the library and how we can serve youth both here in the building and beyond. So if you'd like to connect with Kayla, she is here now. She's not gonna have any business cards, though. I still get to keep my fancy business card. She doesn't have it. But if you do want to connect with her, we can get you guys together. So please connect with Kayla. I can help facilitate that. Two programs I wanted to promote quickly. So it is Hispanic Heritage Month. We're doing a couple of programs here this month. One is tomorrow night. It's a trivia program for adults and families. It's from 6 to 7 p.m. It'll be in one of the meeting rooms with a Hispanic Heritage Month theme. We're also having a culture celebration on October the 17th from 3 to 5 p.m. We'll have some community organizations here. We'll have crafts and activities for kids and families, and we'll have a community potluck. And we're encouraging community members to participate, to come out and not only eat, but contribute potluck dishes. So there's a QR code here on the flyer. Folks are interested in doing that. Quick plug for the Digital Skills Hub on the adult side of things. This as a reminder, so this is a collaboration between Smart Columbus and the Franklin County Digital Equity Coalition. We've been piloting some courses here at the library, and a few of our partners have been doing so in the community. That pilot is growing and going into its next phase. So we'll have classes here the third week of this month, the week of the 21st. Franklinton will also have a week of classes this month. We'll both have classes next month, and then we'll have some classes that are just Saturdays, so you can do the whole thing in one shot. So it's a no-cost class, covers cybersecurity, Google applications, using the internet, searching, how to be safe online, but also how to be active and responsible online, and how to get more connected. And at the conclusion of the course, you get an incentive, you get a device for free. Here at the library, it's going to be a very nice brand new Chromebook in a bag. So highly encourage folks to sign up for that. Again, it's free. You can register at connectcentralohio.com/digital skills hub, or Google Digital Skills Hub. You'll find it right at the top. And then the last thing tonight is, I would say a desperate, but officially an impassioned plea from us here at the Hilltop Ranch. If you know folks who are interested in serving youth and working with them one-on-one, we are looking for volunteers for our school help program,
but specifically for our Reading Buddies program. Mondays and Wednesday nights from 4 to 5:30 p.m. We're looking for anybody who is for a minimum commitment of 15 hours of service over the life of their service, so just 15 hours. They have to be at least 16. We will train them, and we have very, very, very good trainers and training here at the library for this program. It's our bread and butter that we do with youth, and it's getting them ready for that all important third grade reading test we're going to take at the end of that third grade year. So we are seeing regularly 30 to 60 kids per program. We are I think right now we have the highest attendance for that program. Right now we're staffing it mainly with librarians, and we love that, but that means that we're struggling to staff the rest of the building at the busiest time of our day. So we're looking for folks who can help us out a little bit. Please put that word out. There are flyers over there. You can apply online or scan the QR code.
Great, thank you.
Sure. Any questions?
No.
All right.
They have students.
Yeah.
Reading Buddies. Help our students on the hill, right? So we need to do that. It doesn't look like Victoria just called the meeting. Okay. One reminder, ODC, if you would read that announcement again regarding being careful, commissioners being careful again for when expressing their views. Do you have it in front of you? Can you read it one more time for us so that we keep that at the front of our minds?
You want me to read the direct, okay.
Yes, please read the direct language.
As outlined in Article 1, Section K, no commissioner shall represent the Greater Hilltop Area Commission in its official actions except as specifically authorized by a majority of the members, unless exigent circumstances exist. So be careful when expressing your views on public platforms. Your social media posts are subject to public record when and if they refer to commission business. Be very clear that your views are your own and not that of the commission's, unless you get authorization by vote or from the chair or vice chair if exigent circumstances are present. And this is a public forum. This, along with any of the committee meetings, any documents shared during the meetings and presented become part of the public record and must be retained in case of records report.
Thank you. On that note, I would like to motion to adjourn our meeting.
Second.
I knew it was gonna come, what?
I still have the sidewalk item.
Okay, is that something we gotta vote on?
Yeah.
Okay, go right ahead real quick. Yeah,
Thank you. Appreciate
you
it.
you didn't tell me about that. I had to put it on business. I mean, you told me about it, but, okay, go ahead.
So this is something we voted on
Sorry.
in Planning and Economic Development Committee. Unanimously 4-0. So essentially, what this is a proposal that we've been working on based out of some of our capital planning recommendations. So we kind of identified the east-west corridors, or the east-west streets along the Hague Avenue corridor as some streets that are missing sidewalks, but are in the paths of a lot of community assets. As you can see, we outlined a lot of those community assets there in the purple circle. So you have like Holden Park, the J. Ashburn Center, Westgate Park, Westgate Community Center, Hilltop Library that we're sitting in now, West Broad Street Elementary School. So a lot of these places where children walk to. And there's actually a lot of federal funding to get sidewalks for that are in relation to children. So the streets you see in green, yellow, and red are the ones that we've identified as areas that are either missing all or portions of sidewalks. So that the ones in yellow, the ones that we've already advocated or we've already requested from city council. The green are already programmed by the city, and the red are neither of those. So the yellow on top, you can see Steel Avenue, we requested that in our 5 to city council last year, or the city this year. Green, those are already programmed. The one on top you see there, that's Grace Street, that's programmed by Operation Safe Walks. So hopefully if there's not already construction there, you should see it soon. Same with down below Olive Street. And then the red streets, we got Palmetto on the north, and then Fremont. And then at the bottom there, Wicklow. So so essentially the motion, so I'll read the motion, but essentially we're just looking for a full commission approval. That way we can send this to city officials, just kind of broadly. So we've already reached out to folks at the city to see what departments are best to send this to. So Department of Public Service, Development, and of course, our friends at City Council. So we're just looking to get full commission approval, but to advocate on behalf of the greater Hilltop area, commission these recommendations to City of Columbus, just like we do the 5 recommendations we make to City Council. With that, are there any questions?
Do you foresee, I love this, but do you foresee this competes with our 5 identified priorities that we spent time identifying? Does this compete with that?
You know, no, I think it complements it, and you know, the whole capital improvement process. It's a year-long process, you know. Right now, and kind of the reason we're doing this right now is because right now departments are have already submitted their requests to finance, and they're kind of working that through before they submit to City Council. And then later this summer, you'll see City Council have more discussions about some of those proposals. So we're like at the front end of this whole, we're trying to be at the front end of this whole process. But as far as it competing, I don't necessarily see it competing too much, just because there's so many different buckets of funding. There was only one sidewalk, or well, actually there's 2 sidewalk related items on there. But like I think the way we've done it this time, as far as the sidewalk recommendations, is a little better. It's more visualized, and we have those assets that that folks in the community use, and just kind of have.
Go ahead.
Could we unintentionally be endorsing trees being cut down so that they could pave some of these streets?
You know, that's a really good point. And you know, I can't really answer that because we didn't really put anything in there about trees, and I'm not too familiar with the process the Department of Public Service uses when building the sidewalks. I do know a lot of these streets up here that I've been down, there's not too many trees, and so that is definitely something we want to protect to make sure those few trees that are there stay there.
I would want to overtly say that in whatever motion about trees, possibly.
So maybe include some sort of disclaimer that
that we're not endorsing the cutting down of trees in an effort to meet the goal of paving those streets.
Yeah, I could probably.
Yeah, I do want to point out that right by Westgate Elementary School on the Fremont and South Huron, where you have the red, that is where father, while walking his daughter to school last year, was hit by a car. Having a sidewalk there, I believe, would have prevented that accident. So I'm excited to see this on the map there, because kids walking to school, to the library, I think that's a great way how we have to be approaching sidewalks.
Ashley had something.
It was more to address your concern, Commissioner Moore. I heard, and I don't know if anyone from the city can address this, but I heard a news report today that they're starting a new system with the city forestry of, on like private property. If you plan to tear down a tree, you must submit a 311 request for them to assess it. So I wonder if it's probably also going to be an internal system, but I heard that on the news like this afternoon.
Grace Street, I just keep getting texts saying that they're taking our trees down, do something about it. So,
So perhaps we can add the verbiage, and that kind of cover it. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead with the, any other questions? I looked at James and I knew.
Have you looked into, so the current infrastructure of sidewalks, has the committee discussed their current condition as they sit in place as active usable sidewalks? I bring that up because my main concern on Mound Street along the north side is they're not ADA acceptable in a large chunks because of, you know, telephone poles that are carrying one wire to like streetlights are more important than the sidewalks, or sidewalks in a lot of areas that are crumbling that are potentially the responsibility of the homeowners because those are their chunks of sidewalks to maintain. So like as we're approaching the hilltop needing more sidewalks, has the conversation come up about the infrastructure we do have in its current conditions?
No, we haven't had those discussions yet, just more where we need sidewalks, but. You definitely bring up a good point, because that same exact area you're talking about on West Mount Street. Aside from just the design, the maintenance isn't always upkept as you know, oftentimes you'll see several feet high of grass and weeds. And that's a corridor a lot of visitors in the hilltop travel down. And also it kind of impedes because I necessarily don't like to ride a bike on Mound. I ride on the sidewalks even though it's illegal. But I don't like the Mound Street sidewalks, and so I'll risk that a little bit so my legs don't get hit by weeds. But yeah, so we'll try and have those discussions a little more about, especially about ADA accessibility.
And just really quick, final question. Is there any opportunity to walk those streets to get some signatures, get some support, get some things like that?
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
be a part of that.
Yeah, that's an incredible idea, and we probably could do that as part of our advocacy. You know, maybe that could even be one of our upcoming committee meetings. If we could, you know, meet in Central Hilltop and just walk the streets and you know, get not only do that, but get testimonials, because I think when you tie personal experiences with infrastructure and you humanize it a little more, it definitely helps with the advocacy process for that.
Are you advocating that before the vote or after the vote? Don't want to get to the vote.
Yeah, we're, I don't know the urgency. I don't know that there's an urgency to this. I mean, I think this is important. I think it's critical. I don't know if it's urgent, if it waits another 30 days or whatever. I would really advocate that we do some, you know, to walk these blocks and get some support, get some testimonials. That's what I would.
Yeah, I'm personally a no until we know that the people in these areas want the burden of a sidewalk on their street that they then have to maintain. That's the reason all the sidewalks aren't maintained, is because people have to maintain them. The city doesn't. And I don't feel that it's my right to be able to say your private property is now city's private property and you have to pay all that. So I don't like that.
So I actually think there's three things, right? Maybe before we take a vote. So that's the trees, the competing, maybe it's competing with some other things we presented. And getting input from the residents around there. So I know at least three things perhaps that need to be investigated a little bit more before the vote. And Hannah had a question first.
So bus number 3 still runs up and down Mount Street, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm just thinking, because I remember walking to Mount to get a bus, there's no sidewalk, so it would be nice, and I understand we should definitely get the folks' input, but having a sidewalk would definitely make it better. And a lot of the homes, not houses facing Mount Street on those, right? They're all kind of like facing the side street. That's for those, or for that area that you guys are talking about. So, I don't know, I'm just thinking, you know, kids are walking in the snow or even in the rain, having a sidewalk
really beneficial for those folks.
Okay. Okay.
So point of clarification on this vote. The purpose of this vote is for us to identify the routes that seem like the most likely for us to advocate for the upcoming year's capital improvement budget, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so this is not a vote as to saying we need to support these for the capital improvement budget next year. This is just based off the feedback that the Planning and Economic Development Committee has already received on areas that the community has expressly said that they want to prioritize. Correct?
well,
What was the decision-making process in deciding these streets?
so it was, so. Essentially, the survey, a lot of these streets were mentioned, and I also had a lot of side conversations with residents. About the difficulties of getting to and from like certain areas within the hilltop using these side streets. So I mean, that was part of it. Also just, there are a lot of other streets, that do need sidewalks, but there's just a concentration of, a lack of sidewalks in this particular area. And also, there are some north and, south sidewalks that, could be eligible under the, if Link Us passes. But since these don't cross Broad Street, they wouldn't be. So, it's just that along with, a lot of our discussions with, as far as, capital improvements go. And so this really was more of it was like, these are kind of the like along the routes of some of these neighborhood assets, but also like we are advocating that these streets be kind of focused on for capital improvement. So, when Department of Public Service, for example, when they're looking at sidewalks to implement within the city, this is kind of highlighted and pushed up the list essentially. Does that kind of answer your question, Simon?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my question is, this is based off the input that we have already received from the community.
Yes.
Okay. And so the vote on this would help further our focus on these areas the community has already specified as areas of interest.
Yes.
Okay. So I think a vote would be appropriate tonight for that reason, because this would allow, every year we go into capital improvement budget season, right? And we're always behind.
Point of order, we technically can't vote. We've already seconded to end the meeting.
Yeah.
So we would have had to have voted before we had this conversation in general to not end the meeting, but we have not done that. So as it currently sits, we have to vote to either not end the meeting or to end the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can bring this up next month, honestly, right?
Vote to not end the
Right.
meeting. I'm not saying we have to end it.
No,
I'm just saying.
listen. So I'm telling the option, right? So there's already conversation around, the 3 points, concerning this.
This conversation.
And so, wait a minute.
We have to vote.
What you hold on a minute, cause I'm talking. I didn't. I did not. So, as I'm saying, because would you please, I'm getting ready to do the adjournment, the motion, finish the motion. So if you would, just wait a second. And so there's already been a second, so all in favor of adjourning the meeting tonight?
No.
All right. Let's take a vote, a roll call.
Okay, this is a roll call vote to determine whether or not we are ending tonight's commission meeting. I'll start with Trivia Scribe
Yes.
and Vice Chair Fink.
Yes, because the time.
Our Treasurer Smith,
No.
I vote to end. And start with my left.
Yes. I'm gonna say no.
Okay. Josh,
Yes.
wait,
Yes.
Yes.
Bates,
Yes.
Neil,
No.
Yes.
No.
okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in favor. To adjourn the meeting or opposed to adjourn.